I'm going to lead you through this morning's proceedings. It's great to have you all here. So good morning, Excellencies. Good morning, former heads of state, distinguished leaders amongst us, partners, and friends. So I woke up this morning with a big nosebleed because of the altitude. I don't know why Edom chooses to have the Accra reset in Davos, in the mountains of Davos, and now in the altitude of Addis. But Addis is our capital, so we're delighted to be here. So at Davos, 3 weeks ago, there was one speech that caught the attention of the global media, which was Mark Carney's speech. But another speech which went, or didn't catch as much attention, was that of His Excellency President Mahama, who said that Africa must pull itself by its own bootstraps. In a passionate address, he declared that the continent had lost its sovereignty and was caught in a dependency trap. This was both true in areas of aid spending as well as security matters, adding that when it comes to natural resources, we supply the world's critical minerals but capture almost none of the value. So the Accra reset began with a very specific ambition: health sovereignty. We met on the margins of the UN General Assembly to ask a simple but urgent question: why does Africa still rely on external systems for our own health security? But very quickly, we confronted a deeper truth. Health sovereignty cannot exist in isolation. It depends on industrial capacity, on capital formation, on digital infrastructure, on free movement of talent, on sovereign negotiation power, etc., etc. So the Accra reset evolved from a sectoral conversation to a systemic one, from health sovereignty to economic sovereignty. Because what Africa faces today is not a sectorial deficit, it is a structural one. And if Mark Carney said something, he said in public what we already knew, that the system is rigged against us. So the conventional development orthodoxy has not solved our problems. Settling for the lowest common denominator has not worked. And waiting until everyone agrees has slowed progress to a crawl. So the question becomes, what approach will work? We move from the Accra reset to the Addis reckoning. The model is clear. This morning is not about declarations, it's about execution platforms. It's about sovereign prosperity spheres. It's about moving from dependency to agency. And with that, we begin. The video, please.
Africa is entering a defining decade. A decade where population, technology, capital, and geopolitics will converge to shape prosperity or deepen vulnerability. The choices made now will echo for generations. For too long, progress has been constrained by a triple burden: marginalization from global value creation, vulnerability to external shocks, dependence on systems designed elsewhere. It has not been for lack of ambition, but from limits in sovereignty as practice, sovereignty as a lived experience. A great African writer once said that a tiger does not proclaim its tigritude. True sovereignty is not declared either. It is built through the ability to mobilize capital, to negotiate from strength, to coordinate across borders, and to deliver at scale. Sovereignty is execution writ large. This is the purpose of the Accra Reset, a head of state anchored movement to redesign how Africa finances, integrates, and executes its transformation, and also how it heals itself and connects its children, moving beyond fragmented interventions towards sovereign systems that work. Transformation demands capital. Yes, but it must be capital aligned with African priorities. Financing that flows through the veins of African innovation, mobilizing long-term investment, crowding in private capital, and aligning the after treaties and protocols. From digital identity through the after number of SMEs through the Global Skills Passport, to give meaning to free movement and talent circulation to mineral value chain transformation, the Accra Reset is moving sovereignty from the abstract to the concrete foundation of socio-economic power. Whether it is artificial intelligence driving the digital training protocols or the tokenization of natural wealth, a new era now unfolds. Development as usual is fading. The reset unsettles the old order, and everywhere the new abundant spirit rises from the days of old to rhyme with Gen Z rhythms. The sound of progress, however, needs the melody of union, of the continental community, of nations acting together at scale. That is why the Accra Reset is advancing a big new idea: sovereign prosperity spheres, cross-border platforms where policy, finance, production, and infrastructure align to unlock shared growth. From fragmentation to scale, from potential to prosperity. And prosperity shall not be siloed. The borders will be transcended. But for what? Behold, a resounding chorus of connections and interlinkages. Skills, resources, opportunities, ideas flowing across national frontiers and filling up the continent. A border-free Africa must rise forth like Timbuktu on the wings of an ancestral bird, free, soaring, unhindered, powered by a digital public infrastructure, by innovative tools and system shifts. Talent must circulate, markets must expand, and productivity must rise. Free movement is our engine of prosperity. Long have we spoken of this dream, but now we know. Execution is power. From reforming global health architecture, to building industrial ecosystems, to strengthening sovereign negotiation capacity through Top Gun's certification program. From the high-level panel on re-architecting global health to the policy exchanges, peer learning platforms, and communities of practice. Aligning the global south on best practices and the smartest ideas. Each piece in the ensemble plays the beat of the real action, and each climax is us in action. Turning plans into real change on the ground, real uplifts in the spirit of our people. This is the work of the Accra Reset. Practical, measurable, deliverable. Africa's time has come. Accra Reset in Addis Ababa is the moment that was foretold. For far too long we have declared and waited. Now we rise to organize for transformation, to finance our transition, to integrate our prosperity, to execute our future. This is Accra Reset, and this is the Addis Reckoning.
Thank you. If I may ask you all to stand for the African Union anthem, please.
Together to defend our liberty. has dishonored. Oh, sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life. Let us all unite and join together to give the best we have to Africa, the cradle of mankind, the font of culture, our pride and hope and break of dawn. Oh, sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life.
Please remain standing for the anthem of the Republic of Ghana. Thank you. You may be seated. And to make our welcome remarks, I'd like to call upon Her Excellency Amatwum Amoa, AU Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development.
Your Excellency President John Mahama of the Republic of Ghana, Your Excellency former President of the Republic of Liberia, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Your Excellency former President Mauritius, Madam Amina Fakim, Your Excellencies here present, Honorable Ministers, Ambassadors, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to welcome you to this high-level breakfast convening under the banner of the Accra Reset, Addis Reckoning. We gather at a moment that demands clarity, discipline, and coherence. The global financing environment is tightening. Physical pressures across our continent are intensifying. External partnerships are recalibrating. In this context, Africa's response cannot afford to be fragmented or reactive. It must be coordinated, it must be deliberate, and above all, it must be sovereign. The Accra Reset, therefore, is not another declaration. It is not another communique to be achieved. It is a call to disciplined execution. It is about aligning political ambition with institutional delivery and ensuring that continental frameworks translate into measurable outcomes for all of our member states. Excellencies, the agenda of our integration, which is anchored in the African Continental Free Trade Area, is one of the most consequential undertakings of our generation. It represents a deliberate choice to build skill, competitiveness, and resilience through unity. Yet, integration cannot be measured solely by the movement of goods and capital. It must also be reflected in the movement, protection, and empowerment of people. An integrated Africa, therefore, must be an Africa where opportunity moves as freely as trade. Economic integration must rest on strong public systems. Mobility must be structured, rules-based, and anchored in protection. Labor mobility must be governed with clarity and reciprocity. Qualifications must be recognized. Rights must be safeguarded. Social protection systems must become portable across borders. Health and humanitarian coordination must be strengthened to support, not undermine, cross-border movement. Structured mobility does not weaken sovereignty. It strengthens sovereignty by transforming borders from barriers into platforms for shared prosperity. If the AfCFTA is the engine of our integration, then the systems that protect and empower our people are its foundation, and foundations do matter. But execution requires more than policy alignment. It requires interoperability of institutions, predictable regulatory environments, investments in digital, social, and administrative infrastructure, creation real in practice, not merely persuasive in principle. As Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian the credibility of our continental projects will not be judged by the framework we adopt, but by the outcome we deliver. I thank you all.
Thank you, Madam. So our next speaker is the architect of the Accra Reset, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, please. I can invite you to the stage. Thank you. Round of applause, please.
Thank you very much. Let me express my regrets for the late start of this program. So we need to catch up with time. And so I'll say, Excellencies, dear colleagues, distinguished guests, we're all distinguished. I want to commend the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Yesterday we had a high-level summit breakfast meeting. Meeting was high level, it was good, but the breakfast was very low level. Today, it looks like he has upped his act a bit. Thank you very much. Dear colleagues, we gathered this morning not to add another side event to a crowded summits calendar. We're here because Africa has reached a turning point we cannot afford to ignore. We're in an era where old assumptions no